I've been asked repeatedly by people, who the hell are we talking about with these guys? We call them cousins, we call them extended family, we call them ETs, we call them aliens. God, I hate that word. I hate the word alien because it's not applicable at all. I can't even stand the word UFO anymore because there are no such things. We've known for 60 years what they are. Some of them are ours, some of them are theirs, and some of them are Nazis. Now that's a story I really don't want to get into, but take my word for it. Some of them are Nazis. Because the German Reich, the Third Reich, never disappeared. It still exists. And you know that. And a lot of others in the audience know that. But again, we'd be here for 2 more hours if I got into that. But anyhow, UFOs don't apply, aliens don't apply, ETs don't even apply, for God's sake. Yes, some of our extended family, some of our cousins are from other planets. Some of them literally are from other star systems. And some of them, and the Army has known that since 1976 when I retired, some of them are multidimensional. They're popping through portals into our world. And they don't need to go to any particular place to find a portal. They can open a portal any damn time they want, any place they want. And they can come in and they come and go all the time. So people say, who in the hell are we really looking at? Who are we talking about? Well, let me give you a little bit here from history. What did our ancestors refer to them as? And some of the people, you know, who study ancient history, and you guys know this, our ancestors were not stupid. They were some pretty bright people. And we're going back 4,000 or 5,000 years. But who did they call? Who did they refer to? What did they call these guys? Well, let me give you just a little brief rundown here. They have referred to them in literature as controllers, protectors, guardians, emissaries, watchers, angels, messengers. Well, angel is another word for messenger. Emissary, guardians, monitors, recorders, and some of the ancient references refer to them as the builders. Now that's what your ancestors called them. I like the term custodian, but I've got another term that I will share with you before I leave. What are they actually doing here? Well, I put this together from some sources which I trust. They're analyzing us, they're surveying us, they're observing us, they're monitoring, guided, closely watched, weighed, evaluated, examined, tested, encouraged, nourished, and nurtured. That's what they're doing here to try to get us through this transition. As I said, the human race is a work in progress. We are an unfinished product. Well, who's doing the job? Well, we've got a group of guys coming and going, and many of them are staying here and have been here for the beginning. We have biologists, we have anthropologists, we have chemists, psychologists, geneticists, linguists, zoologists. Oh, that's one of my favorites. Oceanographers, meteorologists, and volcanologists. And by the way, the planet is currently quarantined. Not that you didn't know that. We are quarantined. We do not have tourists coming and going. We used to, but we don't have that anymore because the program is reaching some of its final stages. So they've kept the tourists from coming. And that place out there is filled with tourists. Throw me another slide. Oh, try one more. Hey, there's the underground city. Yeah, thank you. I didn't realize I had that in there. That is the Phobos 2 photograph taken by the Soviets a number of years ago. That is a city the size of Chicago under the surface of Mars. There are several thousand people in that city. You can see this is the blocks, the streets, you know, the suburbs over here. This literally is the size of Chicago. This is apparently the same. I know I put a battery in that damn thing. Well, either I'm not, there it is. This is the city limits. But look at these lines, these are streets, these are blocks. There are thousands of people living in that city. That was taken by the Soviets before the Martians sent up a little probe and knocked it out of orbit and went tumbling down. Let's try another one and see what we got. There is a cover for a magazine, if you can find that. A cover for a book. There it is. I had the pleasure and the honor making friends with a brilliant man. There we go. That one up there. I met Norman Berggren at a conference some years ago. Now there we are. Okay. He's about 5 feet tall, wears a little bow tie. Go back to the first one again, the Ringmakers. Oh, okay. Norman retired from NASA. Oh, about 1982 or 83. Brilliant. He was a genius. He left the program, and he was involved with a NASA program known as Voyager 1. In 1980, NASA, in its brilliance, determined that something strange was going on in the rings of Saturn. It had photographs that were very, very challenging, very, very surprising, very puzzling. So they put Voyager out, and I think that was the one that carried the little golden disc, supposed to go out and carry a message to the stars. Well, on its way out, they decided to send Voyager 1 to the rings of Saturn. And they did. And boy, did what they find blow their minds. They found that some things are going on in the rings of Saturn that really just, they didn't know what to do with it. Well, Norman retired and said, well, I think probably they're going to release all of this eventually. They didn't. They didn't release a damn thing, and it pissed Norman off. As I said, he's a delightful little guy. Bow tie, little pink cheeks. He waited a couple of years, and he waited and he waited and he waited, and he kept thinking NASA will eventually release information and show the photographs of what they found in the rings of Saturn. Well, they didn't. So Norman, in his exasperation, decided to write a book and publish some of the photographs. Well, Norman could not get his book published in the United States. A publisher wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So poor Norman had to go off to Scotland, for God's sake, to a little town in Scotland named Aberdeen. And he got his book published in Aberdeen, Scotland, and it became a dynamite book. I got to know Norman, I got to love him and respect him, and became friends. This picture, one of the pictures taken by Voyager 1 in 1980, found this object here. Now this is one of the rings, but they found this object. Let me tell you why they haven't released this. That object is about the size of our moon. Now our moon has a diameter of 2,160 miles. This thing is the size of our moon, self-luminous, flies all over the damn place, moves around all over through the rings of Saturn, and they never released it. And Norman got exasperated and said, to hell with them, I'm going to release it and I'm going to write my book. Went to Aberdeen, got it published, and this is the book. This book